Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to use the pen tool in Illustrator. First of all, open Illustrator, which is the icon with the AI symbol on your toolbar. Once it's open a new file. So go to File and New from the drop-down menu. This window will come up. Ideally you'll want an A4 page and ideally portrait, or you can select landscape if you prefer. When you click OK, you'll get a page that opens up like this. For the tutorial today, I'll be tracing around a logo. I've been to Google Images and found the World Wildlife Fund logo because it's got nice curves to make it easy and to give a good practice in using the pen tool. So I've downloaded one earlier and saved it to my desktop. Here it is. And all I'm going to do is drag that and place it onto my page. As with any images that you drag into Illustrator or InDesign, if you get this blue cross across the middle, you need to embed it. And it's good to get in the habit of doing that all the time. So just click embed, which should come up here when you've got the image selected. Also, because this is a black logo, to make it easy to trace over, I'm just going to take the transparency down on it. Which, if I click on transparency over here, I can just reduce it, just so it becomes slightly lighter so I can see what I'm tracing over. The second thing, so that everybody's working the same, is to use the toolbars in the same way. So if yours are long and thin, press the little double arrows at the top to get them up like this, and it just makes it easy to see the things that I'll be showing you today. And the same over here, if you click the double arrows so that everything over here is, you get all your swatches open, transparency and layers. So now select off the image by just clicking on the side of the screen, and we want to go and select the pen tool. So the pen tool is this icon here with the fountain pen nib. Down here shows what the fill and the outline of an object is that we're going to be tracing. So we want there to be no fill, because otherwise it's going to cover up the image that we're tracing. And we want to make the outline a nice bright colour so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to go for red. And I'm going to make my line slightly thicker so I can select stroke and just increase it to 2 so you can see what I'm doing. Next thing, it's best to zoom into the image so it's easier to trace. So you can do that by pressing either Command minus to zoom out and Command plus to zoom in. Another handy shortcut at this point is if you want to move the panda around on the screen, if you hold down spacebar, the hand tool comes up, which means you can move the panda around to get to the part that you want to trace a little bit more easily. So I'm going to be tracing around the main body part of the panda to begin with. So first of all, I click where I want to begin. I'm going to start at the edge of the ear. I just click on the screen and let go, and you can see a blue dot called an anchor point appears. The next point, I want to create like a curved line to start tracing around rather than lots of straight lines to make it really neat. And each time you can sort of do about a quarter of a circle curved. So I know that I can go up to about here. So at this point I click and I hold down on my mouse button, and as I hold down and move my mouse around, you can see that my line gradually begins to curve. So it's just playing around nice and gently, don't go too fast. And you can see I've got my red line which I've created here, and there's no fill, it's just invisible, so I'm not covering up anything in between. Next I know I can go to about this point, and it is just practice till you to get used to using this. And the more times you use it, the easier it will become. But you should try and stop as little times as possible. You probably should have stopped 1, 2, 3, 4 times, the same as me. If you've done more than that, then you'll probably just, it's not going to be as smooth. Sometimes you'll see that your line instantly just wants to go in the sort of the same direction. So if something like this happens, just press undo by pressing Command and Z, and just re-click on the last blue dot that you laid down, and then it will just allow you to go off on a new angle. Again, just practice will make this become second nature. So I'm clicking and holding and just gently moving the mouse, and it just works in sort of opposite directions. So I pull down on my mouse for the line to go up and do the opposites with left and right. So here I pull right for the line to sort of move to the left. And again, it's just practice. And it is really difficult to use to begin with. So here, because I know that the line will naturally want to kind of go off like that to keep it smooth, I know I just have to re-click on the blue dot to make sure that that doesn't happen. And just keep going around. If you do make a mistake like that, all you need to do is press Command Z and it will go back to your last dot. You can just re-click on it to make sure the line's joined up. It's really important that the whole line is just one line. You can see the whole of my line selected. If you start to do different lines or start again, they won't be connected, so when you're coming to fill it at the end, it won't work. And don't worry if you do slight mistakes like this, maybe it's gone a little bit off. We can edit that afterwards. Again, if you make a mistake, just press Command Z and go back to where you were. And it's best to just try and get around with as little stops as possible. So just remembering that you can do up to a whole sort of quarter of a circle at a time. And as you can see now, I'm just going to zoom in, I'm getting to near the start. And you can see that my line's all connected up because you can still see that it's selected there. And to complete the shape, if I hover over the end, hopefully you can see there's a little circle that appears beside my pen nib, and that means I've connected to the end. And again, I just click and hold to complete it, and now I've traced around the whole of the body shape. So next I just want to do the same thing with both the eyes. So as I'm getting to the end, I hover over, the little circle appears and it becomes one whole shape. And as you can see, because these are quite sort of more simple shapes, I'm getting around in very few stops, maybe 5 stops. So just clicking and holding each time to move that angle. Clicking and holding. And letting go. So now we've got all the bits traced around on the shape. I'm not going to worry about the WWF logo because if I was going to the text, if I was going to do that in real life, I'd probably just download a font that was similar to use it rather than tracing around the whole thing. So now I've traced around all of the panda. So I'm now going to delete the image that I've got in the background because I no longer need it. And so you can see that all the bits are outlined. So again, just to go over what I was explaining earlier, so this square here, the full square, shows what's the fill colour of a shape. So you can see this one mine's empty. If I wanted to fill it, I could click on a yellow, but it has to be at the front. So for example there, you can see it's got a fill colour, but I want to leave mine empty at the moment. And you can see obviously the outline is red. You can increase the thickness of strokes and things if you want to in the stroke palette here. So I don't want mine to just be an outline, I want to fill it. So what I'm going to do is select all of the panda now. So I click on the selection tool if it's not already selected up here. And I can just click on the screen, drag the sort of square over the whole image that I want to fill, and it selects it all. Or alternatively, you can individually select each piece by clicking on it, holding Shift to select all the individual pieces, whichever way you find easiest. If I go back to the fill and stroke, you can see, and now if I want to fill it all, there's a little arrow here, and if I flick that over, it swaps the outline to be a fill. So now it's filled. At the moment you can just see that obviously I've lost the mouth, but if I click there, the mouth is still there. and I want to make that a whole. So if I select the mouth and then hold down Shift and select the main body, and then go to Window, select Pathfinder here from the drop down menu, and this little tool palette will come up. And if I select this one here, which is the exclude button, it will make this so it's a physical whole. This means that now if I place this logo maybe over a shopping bag or over a photograph, you'll be able to see through the mouth, so it actually becomes a physical whole. The other thing that's worth doing at this stage is if I click on the various bits of the panda, they're not grouped, so I could lose bits and it might become that I lose various different pieces as I move it around. So again, if you select the whole panda, and you can go to Object and Group, if I click off now and click on it, you'll see that it now just moves around all as one object. If you need to just select an individual piece within the panda again, if you click and hold on the Direct Selection tool and select the Group Selection tool, you'll see that it just allows me to select various different bits within the group. So if I wanted to edit where the nose was, for instance, I can do that. And when I go back to the Selection tool, it collects it as a group. So it's worth practicing using the pen tool and doing this a few times. The more and more you practice with it, the easier it will become. Another problem that may occur is that your line might not be even the whole way round, and just because that happens, you won't want to start your line again. You can just go back and edit it. So first of all, make sure you select Offset, but nothing is selected, and then this time you want to get the Direct Selection tool, which is this white mouse, so click and hold on it to make sure you've got this one selected. If I zoom into where I have my problem here, if I click on the line, you'll see that all these little dots appear where I've previously stopped when I was creating the line using the pen tool. I can actually click on one of these dots and move the line around, so I can edit it and try and move it back into place. Secondly, where there is each dot, you can see there's a blue line with a blue dot on each end. If I click on one of these actual blue dots, I can edit the angle of the line too. So by using both those options, I can edit the line and smooth out imperfections where needed to make the line more accurate if I desire. The other thing I can do if it's gone really badly wrong is I can actually delete part of a line and reconnect up. So if I click again on one of these dots and press delete, it just gets rid of that area. If I double click, it will get rid of the whole line. You don't want that to happen, so I'm just going to undo to bring mine back. So if I wanted to still get rid of the next piece, I'd click off again, click on, and then delete the next part. Then what I do is go and reselect my pen tool up at my toolbar up here, and then I go back and connect to the line. So as you see, when I connect towards the end of a line, it changes from like a cross beside the pen tool to a little diagonal line, if you can see. When the diagonal line comes up, it means I've reconnected to the line. And now I can carry on, and just like we reconnected before last time, we can reconnect up the line so you can smooth out any imperfections. And again, I can go back and edit the line with the Direct Selection tool. So that allows you to edit any lines that have gone wrong along the way. Finally, you'll want to save your Illustrator file. So once you're happy with everything, you can go to File and Save As, and give your file a name. It will automatically come up with an Adobe Illustrator file, which is what you want to save. And just click OK on the next window. And that means that you'll have a file that you can always come back to and edit, so it will always be live to edit. The other thing you might want to do is take this into something like InDesign, and so that it's not such a large file, you can go to File and Export, select PNG from the drop-down menu. This allows that everything in the background stays transparent rather than having the white square around it like you would if you saved it as a JPEG. So now you can click Export, And to keep the transparency in the background, just make sure you have transparency selected here and keep it at a high resolution by clicking on high 300 ppi. Then click OK, and you'll also have a PNG file saved, which will allow you to put it into things like InDesign and keep the file small.